Good morning. We are joined this morning by artist Brad Overton, who is a participating artist in our upcoming exhibition titled Homage to Joseph Henry Sharp at Blue Rain Gallery. The show opens at the end of April, and we are so excited to have Brad's participation. Brad chose a painting titled The Broken Bow, which Joseph Henry Sharp created in 1912 to use as the inspiration for his contemporary adaptation. Brad, would you like to tell us a little bit about your experience with this process and maybe why you chose this particular painting as your inspiration?
I've always loved still life, and what I've done with my painting is simply to use a Sharp painting that I loved and as a background, and put in the foreground as a subject. My one of my trademark subjects is a lead toy from the 40s. Now the painting is in progress.
And you have a collection of these lead toys, is that correct?
Yeah, I have something like 300 of them or so. Yep.
That's a collection. Yeah.
Yeah, it's getting there. That's a work in progress too. Yeah, I've been collecting them for some time, and I enjoy them. I enjoy the weight of them, the look of them, the patinas, the time, and they become like relics to me, little antiquities that describe a point in time. And and I think when we're looking at Sharp's paintings, we're looking at something that also describes a point in time. And he said, if I don't paint these things, no one ever will. And he was supported by the U.S. government in his efforts, and supplied and outfitted with a cabin and a studio, and so his work was important in that way, and
Absolutely.
And so it's really fun to be able to incorporate that history and be able to put in the comment that I always put in, that this history upon history, where we've been using toys as children, all of us, to interact with history in a way. And it's so funny, if you look at the lead toy figurine, it has there's a reverence to it, and a nobility, and also there's an empathetic aspect, that we can all feel, because the bow is broken, and the culture that was represented in Sharp's paintings has changed so much, and it can't go back to what it was then. I mean, as time moves on, everything changes, and we can never go back, but we can participate and acknowledge the past, and our love of it and our connection to it, by collecting art, by creating art that reflects and extols that interest. So for me, this has just been an exercise in being mindful of the layers of history that are involved, and the process and progress of time that we're all fortunate to be participating in, as human beings.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so I've had a really great time working on this piece.
Just in looking at your work in progress, there's so many wonderful things about this painting. And I have to say, I'm delighted that you chose this particular piece of Sharp's to work from, because I think it's an interesting period of his work, and it's certainly a period where he was known for creating some of his most successful figurative work.
Yeah.
And something, you know, he did this when he was in Taos, which I'm sure you know. This was the setting for this was, from what I understand, done in his Taos chapel studio. But he was definitely known for portraying his Native American subjects in a highly dignified manner, portraying them as loving family members, community members, teaching vital skills, which he's indeed doing. The father figure in this painting is indeed teaching a vital skill to his son here. So yeah, can you maybe, was any of that sort of going through your mind when you were selecting this piece?
It really was. I mean,
what brought you to this piece?
well, the idea that it's the child's bow that's being repaired,
Mhm.
and this is a child's toy that is broken. The bow belonging to the toy and to the child who would have played with the toy is also broken. So there's, you know, so we're playing with that in multiple ways, and also the composition. If you look at the way the arm of the father and the top of the bow and the hand of the father stringing the bow, I chose that composition because it kind of completes the bow. You see how it kind of fixes
Yeah,
that shape?
absolutely.
That shape follows up in the composition to complete the bow. So the child, there's a healing metaphor, or a completion metaphor that I wanted to capture. Even though, I mean, it is subtle, and you might miss it if you know, if you weren't told about it, but that's there in the composition. I wanted to create to complete that shape of the bow, so it's fixed in the end.
That's
And
beautiful. Thank
yeah,
you for pointing that
thank you.
out.
It's fun to be an artist, you know. I mean, you have time to think about things, move them around, reflect on them, and create something original but connected to everything else. And I really enjoy it. So it's a humbling and beautiful experience to be able to participate in art history of the region that I love so much. You know, I've like always, as a kid visiting Santa Fe, I knew at 16, I always knew I wanted to be an artist. I knew that I was an artist, but when I went to Santa Fe as a 16-year-old kid and saw that area for the first time and felt the presence of the culture that was there, I knew that's where I wanted to be, and that's what I would be doing as an adult. So it's kind of like, it's a dream come true to be able to participate in the history and contribute my own efforts to such such a great culture, you know, of painting.
Well, you've done a great job of synthesizing that history along with your own sort of aesthetic sensibilities and contemporary work in this piece. Was there anything about Joseph Henry Sharp that you learned in this process that maybe you weren't familiar with before? Anything that you'd like to share?
I wasn't familiar really with how well he was appreciated and encouraged, and how deeply he felt what his mission was. So, you know, I was aware of the paintings, of course, and I always loved them for their intimacy and the inclusive sort of circular compositions, just beautiful human subjects, but I wasn't aware of like how how deeply and like how aware of his mission he really was. Like he wasn't just making paintings. He didn't just find this subject and make paintings and have a career and settle in. He was on a mission to preserve and record the humanity of people before things changed. And he
Yes.
was aware that they were changing rapidly, and he felt that he needed to record and humanize these cultures before they changed. And he did a beautiful job with just such a sincere effort. So
Absolutely.
that's what I was able to learn and appreciate and studying about him. So thanks for the opportunity to really delve into something that benefited me that way. Thank you.
Well, we're glad to have your participation, Brad. Do you have a title for this painting that you'd like to share?
I'm thinking of Unstrung. You know?
That's a fitting title. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because it's the moment before the bow is restrung, and so it's fitting, I think.
Wonderful. Well, we're looking forward to having Unstrung here for the show. Thank you so much for your time this morning and your participation.
Oh yeah, thank you. Yeah, that was fun.
You have a wonderful day, Brad.
Okay, you too. Thanks, Denise.
Thank you.